Yep.
Nice. Okay, so thank you everyone for coming. This is the second Python meeting of the semester. Of course, oh my God, hi Ernesto. If you want to do a presentation of anything that you find interesting, please contact us. This week we have like a second version of Rohan's very successful video from last semester. He presented how to connect Zotero with Obsidian and also with Git. And this time, he also is going to show us how to implement, which of course is very interesting and is very useful in the case that we want to organize our research. So thank you, Rohan, for today.
Yep.
Afternoon.
Okay, so welcome everyone. Hopefully people online can hear me as well. So if you have seen this video, the new thing will be the AI part and also some nice themes that I came across. And if you've not seen this, I will pretend as you've hearing this for the first time. So your research brain is overflowing in terms of you have many folders, you have many papers for AstroPH, for your three different projectile thesis or for your classes, and you want to make sure you retain all these things and not keep reading the papers again and again or going back to the same sources and doing the same exercises because it's really hard to remember all the different authors, all the different sections of the paper where the specific information is from, and remembering where all the different PDFs that you have saved are. And collaborators, for example, can't find what you're working on. So this is sort of a second brain sort of system, which is what enables you to organize your research life or your life in general. So there's Zotero, which is the reference database. This is sort of similar to Mendeley or other databases that you use for papers. Uh, then there's Obsidian, which is the note taking. So you must be taking notes in Word or LaTeX or wherever you take notes. This is sort of your note taking, but in a way that connects to the research papers. And Git is for your backup, so you can share it and have it anywhere in the world that you need. And the beauty of these is this is all open source, this is all free, and it's all local, so you're not selling your data to any of the people on the internet. So why do we want to do this? Why do we make this? So what is Obsidian? It's a markdown-based note-taking app. That means you can put in your LaTeX sources. It supports Word, supports text, all different kinds of formats. So you could write your papers here instead of paying for Overleaf, or if you want to draft things, it supports all the markdown and everything that you need. It uses bidirectional linking, which means basically you can link two nodes to each other, which is where the power of it comes from, because our brain thinks in ways of linking. So we have, for example, a paper, and that paper links to this other paper. We have this in our head. But when we create these notes in Word document or text documents, they're not actually linked. You have to open them and remember the linking. This sort of helps you connect those nodes together like a knowledge graph that you have, and it's distraction free writing environment, and there's many different plugins that you can play with, some of which I'll show today, which makes it super interesting. So what is Zotero? It's one of the reasons if you're using Mendeley or something, I would say if you want to use Obsidian in the system, you would switch to Zotero. And I can show what Zotero is. So Zotero is basically where you have a plugin on Chrome or Safari where you can just go click on a paper and download, and it downloads into your inventory. You can switch by, like, I have PhD thesis with different papers that you can just open, go through them, take notes. And this, I think, is super important now, especially with AI, where sometimes I'm tempted to just feed the paper to AI and take the notes for AstroPH. So if you want to, I was telling Thomas, for example, we are creating our own knowledge base, like we're training our own LLM in our heads, and you don't want AI slop in that training. So if you're struggling with, depending on AI for reading a paper or something, this sort of helps you because you read paper, you take notes, and doing this whole process sort of builds your knowledge of astronomy and puts you away from the AI thing. And I don't know, it just makes you a better scientist. So maintaining this whole practice of note taking and sort of thing helps you with uh studying and improving your astronomy knowledge. So this is what Zotero is just note taking papers, you highlight them, you can have your own methodology of note taking. There's many different methodologies. So the way I take notes is basically I like to do, like, for example, here's a practical example that I'll be showing today is 3i Atlas, and I want to take notes. For example, I have 20 papers where I want to find which paper talks about CN, which paper talks about, for example, different parameters that we want. And usually what I used to do before was Google Chrome, I had 200 papers open in tabs. And then when the project was over, I was close and be happy. But we don't want to close because what happens if 3 months Thomas is like, oh, what about this papers? Let's work on this thing again. Now you have to remember all these tabs again. Or where are these notes that are floating around in the thing? So this sort of organizes everything you have. And you can, for example, I have like site limitations. So now I know what are the limitations of paper because I have them like hashtag. Or I can key figures. I want to remember these key different figures that were there because I want to adopt them or implement them. Or if I have knowledge base about luminosity function, I want to know everything about luminosity function that I had taken studies or notes about. So it depends on how good you take notes. And using this sort of improves the way you take notes. And in doing so, it improves your knowledge of the field and allows you to remember papers. Because for me, it's very hard to just remember, oh, this information is at all 2025. So like professors do. But so this sort of helps with that. And the beauty of this that comes in is when you include Zotero, when you take these annotated notes and import them into Obsidian. So, for example, here is my literature, and let's say I was studying a paper. So I'll give a practical demo. So for right now, we're writing espresso paper, which is led by Baltazar, and I was tasked with writing the introduction. So for that, I had to first study all the literature there is about the 3i Atlas. So I had a bunch of papers open. I took a bunch of notes. So for example, I have an example of these different papers. I took notes from these, and then Obsidian just allows you to do this, and you can say Zotero. Sorry, where am I? Here. You could say Zotero integrates, and there's a template that I can share with people, and it just beautifully implements. Where is so? For example, it implements. Let me find a good note. It implements all the notes you've taken from the specific pages. So when you write down your thoughts, your things. So, for example, there's on page 2, there's this, and it connects already to Zotero, and you can go to the specific section. And here, for example, you have what exact information was there. So you don't have to, have all the tabs open. So it implements all these notes, and then I can use that, for example, writing my introduction. So let me go back. Where you go? So here I would say last alert system. So let me open the source code version so you can see source code. So here I have the Tonry paper and the specific annotation I had made, which talks about the eccentricity. So I have the eccentricity already here cited. And the beauty of this is in latex format. So you could just copy and put this in overleaf. So that's how I work is like I wanted to talk about the discovery and orbital properties. I have the papers that I had taken notes from. I implement them in here. Then initial spectral characteristics. However you form your introduction. Yeah.
So this is not in LaTeX format, right? This is in Markdown format.
Yeah, but you could have it based on the template that you have.
Okay. So when you like copy paste it in overlay, it will like automatically do it.
If you have it as a template. But I don't have because I like Markdown, but you could have it as a overleaf template. But at least you have citations and the sections that you need to go to. Because the main thing is I don't remember where exactly I got this info from. So, but if I click here, I go to the note and then I can go to the specific page where it's from, and then I can cite it that way. So it's like going back.
Like you first in Obsidian,
Yeah,
then
right.
we format the thing. So
You could, I mean, it's on the template. So I have created a template here, which is I just call it new Zotero template. So here you can create title, rank, URL. So you could change it to where it says Pusia et al. 2025 with the actual bib text which you can get from Zotero. So you just copy paste and it's already in there. That's a good idea. I should try this. But so I form these different sections. So then when I combine them, I have like an introduction done. And that's how I wrote the introduction, or I write papers or write whatever when I am writing, because then you have these things done. So that's the idea of importing the notes. Then these are the different setups. I don't think I should spend more time on explaining how to actually import and start this, because I have this in detail in the presentation. So when you see the video, you could. Uh, but and the beauty of Git is, lastly, so for example, Thomas asked me, where are you in your PhD paper or thesis manuscripts? I could just go to GitHub, and because it's all synced into GitHub all the time, I have PhD thesis. So this is my entire brain basically, which I can share with Thomas. I can tell he has documents, and yeah, I can tell him keep track. This is where my espresso paper introduction is, and he can check it and then give feedback if he wants to, or download, and he can also read it. So it sort of gives you freedom of seeing your information, all your brain at one place from anywhere. And you can keep it private so no one else sees it. You can just add collaborators. Um, so yeah, this basically is how to install these things, and it's all here. And I will also share with you a Obsidian Zotero playground, which goes through this exact steps of how to import these things, how to get Git, how to do brain linking, how to do examples, different markdown files. It has a lot of like beautiful things. Uh, where am I? But yeah, and then which is what is here. You can get BibTeX for Zotero, you can get integrations. So the question you asked, you can download all the BibTeX and add it into your bib file, so you already have the citation done. So the key takeaway I want to get is organize the research brain. This is not only for your research. It could be for note taking every day, what progress you're making in your life. You can make multiple vaults depending on different projects. It's sort of organizing your life and having a second brain that you can keep track of. And sort of, it's like, how you write diary, and when you write diary, you sort of change the way you think and improve in terms of keeping track of your day, appreciating every day kind of thing. So note taking sort of improves by doing this. Uh, and then you can make it your own, which is the good thing. So I found this new theme, which I like a lot. It's like called a rainbow theme, looks like pages. And you could have, for example, this is another thing called knowledge graph, which is super cool to see. So you can see how different concepts are connected in different ways. So I see my PhD program is linked with all these different things, or my papers are like, this is housing. So I have like everything that is in there. So quick notes and things to do. So I know what I'm doing every day. So I have like a quick note thing. This is what I all need to do. And I link it to all the different notes. So I know which one I have. So every time I find information. Or for example, if you like taking notes during seminario. So I have a note for seminario. So I know which seminario had done what. And if I, for example, am reading a black hole, I can say this professor had given a scenario on black holes, and there was this the research, and then cite that paper. So if I, for example, just search black hole, I have all the information that I need, that I can have a head start instead of remembering where my files are stored and where my documents are and going through the pages again. So, and you could also import all of, if you're using Evernote, if you're using Dropbox, if you're using Notion, all of that can be imported directly using a plugin. So if you want to switch, it's very easy. So I used to use Notion, and all of that was just ported in here, and also Evernote. So that's the main thing. There are these different links. So the new thing I have is, I was talking about searching. So I have been using local AI models because I don't want to give my data and brain to uh open AI, which is closed, and cloud or something, because it's very expensive. So you could use Olama locally to run a local model on your notes. So this is, for example, I've created another world for demonstration. I don't know how much time I have.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. And you can ask me questions. So for example, a cool thing about this is Olama is, if you have a laptop with like 16 GB of RAM, you can run a pretty good model, 4 GB model, 400 MB models that can allow you to do different things. So for example, and I've included instructions of how to install this in this guide that I'll share with you. How to do it on Mac, Linux, Windows, whatever you're using. But what this allows is it runs a local model based on your computer. So for example, you can see it's running locally. I will have not Wi-Fi, nothing. And it's able to do multiple things because it's integrated directly into Obsidian. So for example, here I have a stellar magnitude calculator. I am flying in plane and I don't know what is wrong, but it's not running. So I could just copy and paste this here in this is the chat window for this, and it tells me why is the script not working? What is the error? And it allows you to solve. Or for example, you are observing, you've made a rough schedule, but you want to have fancy table, you want to have it more proper way. You could ask it to rewrite it in a professional format, and you don't have to copy paste, you just do apply, and it just applies the change, which you can review and change if you want. Well, it's taking, so you can see the peak because it's running. I'm running an 8 GB model, so it takes a while. But or you could have, for example, what are the key properties? This is something that I'm really interested in, is there's a search function in Obsidian, but it's only keyword matching. But let's say I have 50 sources, literature papers that I have put notes on and important for Zotero. And I've also worked throughout my PhD or master undergrad program on globular clusters, which are separated over in different notes app. And I want to get an understanding of, just basically query my entire vault to get an understanding of globular clusters. So you can query your entire vault to understand and get information based on, for example, here I've given it like a globular cluster observing guide and an info dump on globular cluster. It studies all of my documents, all the references, identifies the information, and then contextualizes it to create, for example, information that I'm requesting. So for example, if you have a node, let's say you want to create an introduction, you have a bunch of sources, you could ask it, but you have to verify because it's a small model. It's like an 8 GB model, but you could potentially query your entire thing and ask it to generate intro just after you import all the Zotero nodes. So, and there's more things, but this is local, and so it's pretty nice that you can check. So, yep, that's all there is. Questions?
I think there was a question in the chat.
Yeah, that's a good question. Mendeley to Zotero. I would need to Google this. I do not know. Let me share the
Also,
present. Yeah.
you can also share
Yeah.
Obsidian.
Yeah, so if she wants to share, because everyone has different ways of note taking, so I wanted to ask people who've used it and if they found useful how it looks like. So if you want to share. Yeah.
Okay, so I also have it here. It's a different template. So for example, for my classes, I have the different classes. And I get, yes, I have like the key takeaways of the classes, the lecture notes, and here again, the key concepts are like linked notes. So I can go to the definition of them. This is the seminario class. But the main images we need. So you can also add the images of the diagrams and stuff you need. And well, for research, it's a bit more messy, but I also did this. So I had like a tracker for my thesis. I didn't complete it very well, but you could you could do like a section, the status, what was it, and the different due dates. So yeah.
Can you share something like that?
To be honest, I just asked Gemini to do a template for me.
But you can create templates. They're online, there's a whole Reddit subreddit.
I can give you these templates. Yeah. Yeah. So, and then I have like the summary also of my thesis, and here there are questions and the answer of the questions are. So yeah, that's how I use it.
why do I need, it might seem overwhelming at first. Why do I need to do all this? I could just do paper and keep tabs open what is working. But in the long run, it really helps you organize your mind and you find your own way of taking notes and however you do it. So for her, for example, a table keeping tabs, it's yeah, so build small. Don't get overwhelmed because you might look in mine and feel like, oh my God, there's so many things. But I started with just like 3 folders, and that was like literature. And my project is basically just this. So yeah. And if you need any help, I have my office. You can come show me. I have faced probably most of the problems you were gonna face. So ask me.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, first, is the team thing new? Like, I don't remember, like, when I tried to use it, I couldn't use it. I'm like very dumb. But
Yeah, so theme is super nice. So you go to appearance, you go to manage, and there's many themes which are here.
oh, nice.
And then well, that gives you a normal theme. So for example, I could do, and then you could go here in, oh, what's this? You could add like a CSS snippet to make it more cool, or you could do menu configurations on what you specifically want, how you're gonna organize them. And the way I have these rainbow colors and stuff is because I am using, where is my template? No, style settings. In the style settings, I have colors and ooh, what happened? Oh, what happened? I don't know what happened. PhD. Yeah, here you can change different colors and stuff, so it depends on how. Or you could import, for example, a config file. So I have a config file that I put in, so that's how I have those rainbow colors and stuff. But yeah, and there's many plugins. You could have HTML reader, you could do Pandoc, you could do page importer, style. There for the question of Mendeley, there's probably Mendeley. But yeah, maybe there's, I don't know.
Yeah, I think also when I tried to do the download, because in the PDF everything was very clear.
Mhm.
I think the only thing that failed, and then Vito helped me, was that it did not find like the Zotero, like there's like two, and one of them works, and the other like does not work. So the plugins, yes.
This
What do you have?
I
Just
have
to check.
Zotero integration by MGMEYERS.
Okay, that's
I can put that in
yeah.
this guide. So yeah, I didn't know that. So yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, any questions online or yeah.
I've been using Zotero for a while now, and I see that we can also take notes from figures. Is it possible that when I take a note from in a figure, I can report directly to Obsidian the note
Yeah.
with the figure?
With the figure, I mean,
Select the figure, like with the selection tool in Zotero, it gives you the figure in Obsidian.
Yeah,
And you, like, sorry.
yeah, you can share. I didn't know this. I need to learn it too.
All of those are figures actually. So here, I get like it's also, it's not even a figure, but I just selected it with the tool here in Zotero. Like
Maybe if you click on it, it goes to your Zotero page 9.
yeah, but I had it up. So with this tool here, it's not loading. Sorry.
So here, if you select this tool, is it showing? No.
No, I think you need to share the entire desktop.
Desktop share.
We're gonna see your whole thesis.
I think
I posted. Yeah. There? Yeah. If you select with this, like box, whatever you select in that box, it shows up as an image.
I
So,
know that.
and here, like I selected that, so it shows up as an image. And there's also, I think that's the only one here, but I have plots for other papers. So yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
I have a question might be dumb. Can we use like Zotero and Obsidian on like a tablet or an iPad?
Yeah,
So
I have it on my phone.
is it possible to take notes with like pen?
Yes. The only thing is you would need, so Zotero has a paid subscription of syncing. So, but if you have a small enough file, they have like a 2-3 gigabytes of free. And then, but if you have GitHub, then it's easy. So that's why I have GitHub. So you can install GitHub on your laptop. Sorry, on your iPad or whatever.
There's actually one way to sync it, but with a different provider other than like Zotero itself. You can like I forgot the name, but they give like
Yeah, you can sync with Google Drive, Dropbox, whatever provider you support.
sorry, I forgot the name, but I did it on me.
Ah, okay.
My devices.
Nice.
But what are you using?
I forgot the name.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, always a very popular and Python meeting.
Yes. And now hopefully it's well recorded. So
Yes,
yes.
the AI thing just happened, so I can show you. So it shows you changes like GitHub does, accept incoming, accept both. So what you want to do?
So
Goofer.
that's company, I think. Safe, apparently.
That's the only issue for my issue. Yeah, my issue is not relying on third-party services which are not open source. So you don't know what is happening with all this data and if it's being hacked. So that's why I prefer GitHub.
Standard, so I think like Google can sell the data.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Mm. Yeah, but if you're not paying, you're the product. That's the simple thing. Somehow.
Okay, so
Yep.
questions? No?
No.
Okay, thank you again, Rohan. Very nice. And if anyone is watching on YouTube who is not part of our university, please like, subscribe, and comment on this video.
And share.
And share. Yes, thank you everyone for coming.
Ciao.